Well, that ain't right, is it? Are we working? Testing 1, 2. Are we working? We have about a minute's lag. Bear with me. Okay, I think we got it going. I think it's working. I'm not entirely sure. I need to set that running. So this is my New Year's Eve live stream, random waffle. Really? I'll do some Q&A. I'll just talk about whatever the hell. I don't know who's going to join. I don't know who's around. Currently 4 people watching, no one in chat. Hi Thorpe. No, 3 people. Someone's got bored and gone away already. So as I usually do when I start these streams, the time is 6 minutes past 2 p.m. GMT. So if you're watching this at some other time than that, I mean, you can work out your own time zone calculations, but if you're starting this and seeing this and it's not that time, you're watching the recording, because I always archive my live streams so people can watch later. Hello Simone, greetings, welcome, Happy New Year to you. Yeah, random waffle, Q&A, nothing scripted, nothing planned, have got no idea what I'm going to talk about. I just know that I've got to put up some content. I've been remiss. I've been not making videos. Partly Christmas, holidays, work, fun times, getting drunk, going in VR chat, and all the stuff that I've had going on. Making videos has taken a back seat. But doing a live stream, that's what I did last week, doing a gameplay. Well, I did, yeah, it's been ages since the last sit and talk to the camera. Absolutely, I can't remember the last time. I do live streams like with games and let people, I can see what they're saying and I respond to them while I'm playing the game. As you know, you were there while I was getting my, well, I wasn't exactly getting my ass kicked. I was failing to find and open a door in Half-Life Alyx, and that was very, well, both funny and embarrassing. Hello Eugene, nice to see you. Happy New Year. Have a better 2022. Thank you. Do you know what? I mean, pandemic aside, because that's been horrible for everyone, some people more than others, without a doubt. 2021 for me, and indeed 2020, have not been bad years. I mean, from a world perspective and the perspective of humanity, they've been pretty catastrophic. But from my personal perspective, they have been 2 really, really good years. I've had a really good time. So I can't complain. If 2022 is better than 2021, it's going to be a really good year. So I look forward to that. That will be good. I hope you've had not too bad a year. I hope all well, we've got 6 people watching now. I hope you all have a great 2022. How the hell did we get to 2022? I mean, I said this in 2010. I made a video saying, what the hell, this is meant to be the future. Where's my jetpack? Because I've got to pause the video of me. I can see myself moving there in front of me, whilst thankfully I can't hear myself, and it's really distracting. Yeah, I made this video looking at all the stuff, the current technology as it was in 2010, and saying this was supposed to be the future, but it doesn't feel all that futuristic. Hello N Clunk, thought it was still 2020 a few weeks back. Yeah. Have I played Final Fantasy VII? No, I haven't. The Final Fantasy games don't appeal to me at all. No, I haven't, and I won't. The only Final Fantasy game I ever even tried was Final Fantasy, I think it was X2. Didn't like it. They just don't interest me. The only RPGs that I remotely like are the Bethesda games, like Elder Scrolls, that kind of thing. Fallout, which, you know, JRPGs, no. I couldn't really tell you why. I think a lot of the time when I look at a Final Fantasy thing, there's a lot of presumed knowledge, or it seems that way, and certain gameplay aspects. I don't know if Final Fantasy does it, but certain RPGs, I see them, the turn-based action does my head in. I don't know that Final Fantasy does that. I've certainly seen some where they do that, and I'm like, whoa, I don't want any of that. Yeah. Yeah, I think Eugene's saying pretty much what I'm saying there. I don't know if Final... Yeah. I'm currently looking at Steam, because I've joined the PC master race, though I don't consider myself a PC gamer. I'm a console gamer, and to a lesser extent retro gamer. But since I got this PC for doing VR, I've been looking more at Steam, and I'm looking at Forza Horizon 4, I glanced at 5 and it's like, okay, it's more expensive and it's Mexico, where 4 still looks really bloody gorgeous and it's in Britain. And I'm like, I think I might play that. We're reminiscing. I think I started watching you when I was 13. You're now 23. Not much has changed since my body. I would think your body would have changed a bit, yeah. Thank you for sticking around for so long. I am really chuffed that so many people watch and so many have stuck around. I mean, people come and go on YouTube. Viewers come and go. YouTubers come and go. And I am... It's great when there are people who are still around, who were around in the early days. You know, sometimes they'll drift away and then come back and you see them and it's like, wow, I haven't seen this person in ages. And it's always a pleasure. New viewers, old viewers, you name it. Any kind of interaction, love it. Yeah, I got old. I'm not doing as much on here as I did, but motivation in terms of making videos has gone right out the window. And it's not because I don't like making videos. Hello Giddy Video, greetings and welcome. Hope you're having something nice for lunch. Yeah, what was I saying? Hello Mark. Interaction, yes. All the best to you, Mark, and Elise. Happy New Year and such like. What was I saying? Yeah, while I'm still enjoy the process of making videos. The retro gaming side of it, I won't say I'm done with it, but it's not holding my interest the way it did because of modern stuff, because of this PC and the Quest, to be honest, the Quest 2, VR, and more specifically VR chat, but largely VR. It has grabbed my attention in a way nothing has grabbed my attention for a very, very, very long time. 20 years since I first got onto the internet, nothing has grabbed my attention like it. And I just it's made the retro gaming side take a back seat. But like I said, I'm not abandoning it. It's just that doing stuff like this is actually more appealing than making the retro gaming videos. Hello Graham, I'm good, thank you. I hope you're well. Happy New Year. I like your take on things, Steve. I'll be here as long as you have an interest in making videos. I will make videos for as long as I possibly can. Hello Toby, greetings, welcome. I don't know if this is the first time you've ever heard me speak beyond saying meow, but hi. Happy New Year. Am I going to pronounce this right? Kalid Gaming. Greetings, welcome. Those of you, most of you know me as me. There are possibly going to be a few viewers in here who know me as someone completely different and aren't used to hearing me speak. The last stream was an example of that, where Jelly was in there, and you will have noticed him because he was speaking a lot, and that was great. Toby is a friend from VR chat, which is where I'm spending a lot of my time, and literally anyone from VR chat will not know me as this person. They know me as a cat, an animated cat who just goes meow, 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 meow. For the moment, not made a lot of videos. Finally got PSVR. Yeah, PSVR is if it's your first experience of VR, it will knock your socks off, and how much time you spend on it will probably depend on how much motion sickness you get and how much you can put up with the fact that it's really pretty fuzzy. I don't know how much of that for me was because I have to wear glasses, and I found a pair of glasses that suit me better on the Quest. But just any kind of functional VR is fantastic. I was looking at your channel since you played Half-Life, Alex. It was really great. Thank you. Glad you enjoy it. Really nice to have you here, and everyone else. Hello, Ryan. Happy New Year. Nice to see you. Ryan is another VR chat friend. Nuno Lorenzo. Happy New Year. Play the inmost of Apple Arcade. I don't know what that is, and I don't have Apple. I say I don't have Apple anything. I do have some Apple stuff. I've got an old Apple Mac SE, which obviously that's not going to do a whole lot. I think I've only got one working game, and that always crashes, but it is Star Wars, so that's good. I've got a couple of I'm not a furry, giddy video. I am not a furry. I say that in my status on VR chat. It says, not a furry, a cat with beer. I am a cat with beer. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, I've got a couple of like G3 era, well, PowerPC based Mac laptops, and I've got one Intel based iMac, and I'm just not a fan of Apple stuff, so I don't use Apple for anything. What loot dropped for me for Christmas? Okay, couple of Amazon vouchers, which will prove very useful. Rick and Morty socks. I love Rick and Morty, so they were great. Multi-pack of chocolate. Chocolate is always welcome. This, which my VR chat friends will be aware I have been enjoying whilst in there. I drink my VR chat avatar, Cat, has me holding a bottle of beer, and it is one of these bottles of beer. Literally, I have a cat avatar, and this avatar was made for me by a friend, Jelly, who was in last week, and he was able to fit one of these into my hand. So whenever I go in there on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, and tonight, I'm drinking this in the real world while drinking this in the VR world. And yeah, I've been following it up with the whiskey. And last and very not least, I love this because I'm a big kid, and you will know that. And what's not to like about that? Hello, Richard Murgatroyd. Happy New Year. Inmost is a 2D indie game. Mostly I don't play indie games a whole lot. Kinda don't really care about them. I go for stuff that's going to knock me socks off, because I've got so much stuff. So many games, too many, honestly, too many games, that a lot just don't get played. I've got stuff, especially with the PlayStation Plus thing. It's like you get AAA titles for free, alright, you're paying a monthly subscription, and if there's anything that remotely appeals, I'm like, I'll download that and play it later. And I've got a ton of games that are waiting to be played that I haven't touched. Horizon Zero Dawn, for one. It's like, I know that's a good game and it's gorgeous, and I've had it for months and I haven't even launched it once yet. Didn't get any loot. You got an actual cat. Awesome. Cats are great. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I know the lager you're talking about, Richard. I have drunk some of that. I used to live in a house with 14 or more other people, and one of them was this Polish guy, and that was all he ever drank, and he gave me some of that, and that was quite nice. I mean, I'm not really a lager drinker. but that was not unpleasant. Am going to get a Quest, but with GPU prices as they are, I'm not in a position to use it with Steam, so PSVR it was, even though it is cheaper to buy the Oculus. Do you know, the difference in terms of graphics between a PSVR on a PS4 and a standalone Quest is not huge. You got better texture mapping and polygon count on the models on the PSVR, but the resolution is better on the Quest. And again, the PSVR has a wider field of view, so you've got more peripheral vision. It's quite narrow on the Quest, but that actually helps in terms of keeping down motion sickness. I get far less motion sickness with the Quest than the PSVR. So I mean, it is horses for courses, and you've got different games on each one. There's not much convergence where you've got a game on one and a game on the other. Yeah, and ultimately if you're enjoying it, you've got a good piece of kit. Just set up a Korg wave station and it works lovely. I have a bit of an idea of what those are. I've never... Yes, the controllers on the Quest are way better than the Move controllers. Absolutely. I dislike the Move controllers on the PSVR greatly. I rarely ever use them. Try to save up for a mic upgrade. Blue Yeti. Now, yeah, those Yeti mics are meant to be good, aren't they? Same Xbox 360 era was the peak of gaming for me. Still playing Oblivion. Do you know, I'm still playing Oblivion. While I've had a PS4 Pro for years, I'm still buying games for the PS3 on occasion. I bought Oblivion quite recently because I played it previously on the PC, but you can't see them. I've got PS4 Pro, PS3, PS2 all set up just there, all hooked up, and it's like I want to play on them. So when I found out that Oblivion was on the PS3, because I love Skyrim, it's like, yeah. Not played too much. Love Astrobot and will give Moss a go. Astrobot is great, and in fact so are Moss. So is Moss. The thing about those is they're third person view. You're actually looking at your character, which makes them kind of different. Another game like that where you view your character, but which I find more immersive, is Rez. And Rez is on, it's on Quest and on PSVR, and it's great on both. I personally think it's better on Quest, but that doesn't take away the fact that it's brilliant on PSVR as well, and highly recommended. Been playing Halo, the Chieftain Collection. Some bugs where the elevator blew up, and now I'm playing Halo. Do you know, the only Halo game I've ever played is the original Halo on the original Xbox. Saying that, no, I've got Halo 3. I think I've got Halos 3 and 4. I lose track. On Xbox 360, and I played Halo, I think it was 3, for about 5 minutes just to see if I liked it or not, and loved it. Thought, this is great, I'll do a stream of this later, and never actually did. Never got round to it, so I need to play that, because while I'm not experienced with it, I recognise Halo as being a brilliant series, and probably the best reason for owning any kind of Xbox. The only PSVR game I played was Russia Blood. Great fun, but no motion sickness. I'm not familiar with that game. I have an Oblivion tattoo on my arm. I love that game. I would hope so if you've got a tattoo of it on your arm. The number of people I see with tattoos of that Triforce, is it called, from Legend of Zelda, Loads of people got that. You haven't had motion sickness yet. That's good. I was shocked the first time I got motion sickness, because my experience of VR, I've been doing VR for years and years, but it was on, some of you will be familiar with that homemade thing I made. A builder's helmet, cardboard box, 7-inch Android tablet, USB controller, box of screws at the back to balance the weight. That was an insane piece of kit, but it worked, and I used it quite a bit using Google Cardboard Android apps. So while it looked really good in terms of resolution and everything, as a VR experience it was limited, but I did it, and I did it for quite a while, and I never ever experienced motion sickness. And so I just thought, okay, I'm fine, I don't suffer motion sickness with VR. And then I got a PSVR, and I played Skyrim and Minecraft. Oh wow, that shocked me. It didn't occur to me. I wasn't having that whoa instant sickness. I played for about half an hour and a half, and by the end of it I was just, it was like acid indigestion, just really acidy, and I was just feeling sick and thinking, well, my omeprazole aren't working. But I realised after it happened a few times that it was nothing to do with not taking me meds, it was the VR that was doing it. You can limit it by the kind of, it's always turning that does it for me. If I have smooth turning, I get motion sickness. Friends in VR chat will be aware that I've got that jerky turning where it's like incremental turning and it just jerks, and that's why I do that. It means I can stay in there for like 4 or 5 hours instead of 20 minutes. So I've got to scroll back now. I've missed a lot of what people are saying. Was watching an interesting video by Explaining Computers. That's a good channel, that is. He was saying Facebook metaverse idea is flawed because not enough people can. I don't know. I have views on the whole metaverse thing, and I've done whole videos on the subject of how I think it will go. I think people are going to be forced into the metaverse in the same way that people are forced to have the internet, because it'll reach a point where you will struggle to get through life without it. Have you played Nintendo Wii U? That is a great console. Only once. I thought it was interesting. Well, I played Mario Kart 8, which I love Mario Kart, but that's all I've played on it, and I don't want one in the same way that I don't want a Switch, because there's only one game on it that interests me, and that's a lot of money to play one game. A video game tattoo, but for the PS2 days, called Primal. Character Jen has a tattoo on her back, and I had that. I'm not familiar with that one. Haven't played VR, but Darksiders 2 makes me sick after about 10 minutes of playing. Facebook is mostly for the elderly nowadays. They won't like change. The youth has moved on. Can't see the metaverse work. Honestly, I think the metaverse will work, but not strictly as VR. And here's the thing, I was watching a video on this today. The Quest 2 sold more headsets than the Xbox Series X this year. It's the biggest selling VR headset. It's selling in the millions. It is going to be a success because Facebook are going to basically force it to be. I don't necessarily think they'll get the metaverse to work the way they want it, but it's not for people of our age group. When I'm in VR chat, as Toby will know because he remarked on it, he was amazed that someone of my age was in there and enjoying it and knew how to use it. And that's the thing, us lot, people of like the 30s and 40s and 50s and thereabout age group aren't, we're not a thing, we're not even a recognised demographic in VR chat. It's going to be your 20-somethings and your teens of now who are going to be doing the metaverse, and they do love it. It's going to be the squeakers. You go in VR now and it's full of squeakers. There's tons of them. They've all been given a Quest 2 for Christmas, and you can see them racing around and screaming and being a pain in the arse, and then you mute them. They are where the metaverse is going to take over, because they will be native to it, where we learned it. I mean, I don't know, I grew up with technology. I was in there right at the start when home computers were new. But a lot of people of my generation are like, computers? No, that's for the youth of today. But it's going to happen. Space games where you have no reference to where down is, give vertigo them. Oh, I get you. Yes. I can totally see how that would work. I find games where you're being moved but you have no control over the movement, say the camera shifts, that really makes me like, whoa. There's a world in VR chat where you're running around. It's the Christmas world, and it's great. It was the one my last cat video was set in. There's a hot air balloon, and if you jump into the hot air balloon and push a button, it takes off and starts flying around, and you have no control over its motion. And the moment it starts doing that, I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Gotta have control over motion. What do you think about VR racing, as in racing on VR? Not a game that might be called that. Given your love of cars and racing games, I'm surprised you don't seem that bothered, or am I wrong? You're wrong. I love them. I just haven't done any videos of the, well, no, I've done a live stream, because I did a live stream of Dirt Rally 4, I think, on PSVR. I haven't made any videos of them, because up until recently I was using PS4 for my virtual racing in Dirt Rally, and I don't find that a useful thing for capturing video footage. Unless, I mean, I could have just pointed the camera at the screen, but now I'm doing it on Steam. I can capture a lot more easily with OBS, and there will be more, and I want to get Dirt Rally for that, because I think it will just plain look better. No, I love it. Racing games I find very well suited to VR, because as long as you've got some superstructure of the car, like the bodywork, in your field of view, I don't get motion sickness. Like, I can play Wipeout in VR on the PlayStation, and I mean, it's hurling you all over the place, but I'm fine with that, which is great. Hey Steve, Happy New Year. Have you got some decent beer? Hello John, Happy New Year to you. I have got some Black Sheep Milk Stout. I will be seeing the new year in tonight in VR chat, and I've also got a bottle of Jameson's Irish Whiskey, so I won't get hammered. I'm still recovering from last night. Yeah. Hang on, I've got to scroll back. Where did we get to? Quite like Dirt Rally. Yeah, Dirt. I was just talking about that. You're just an old duffer like the rest of it. Yeah, I am an old duffer. I'm an old git. Roller Coaster Sims do it. But yeah, I've played Roller Coaster Sims on Google Cardboard, but haven't been on anything since then. The racing question was a Q&A one, but I think it got lost. No, it hasn't got lost. It's just that the list of waiting questions is that long. It was one I was going to be coming to probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll treat it as answered. was thinking about getting a steering wheel, but I haven't got any room on my computer desk. Do you know, yeah, I love steering wheels, but I actually play racing games worse if I use them. I had a wheel for me, I had a Mad Catz wheel for me PS2, and then I had a force feedback wheel for me PS3, but it never quite worked properly because pushing the accelerator full down didn't actually equate to full throttle, and I couldn't seem to adjust it so that it did. So whenever I used it, I had to push the steering wheel buttons, like the face buttons, to give it full throttle, which completely took away the point of having the thing. And while the steering was impressive, like the force feedback and the realism and everything was great, I actually performed worse with it. So I've never bothered buying one since. Happy New Year, Steve. I agree, adoption of the metaverse will be a generational thing. I do wonder what other companies would try to make something similar when it takes off. Amazon or Google. Well, the thing is, it's not going to be a universally one company thing. They're all going to be in on it and all trying to take advantage of it and milk it for as much money in whatever way they possibly can. And there are going to be there's going to be stuff that's purely VR, there's going to be stuff that's purely AR, there's going to be stuff where AR merges into VR. And the more seamlessly they can do that, the better. A thing I find interesting, there was a conversation last night in VR chat that everyone, no, I won't say everyone here, many more of you here will know because he's known in VR chat and on YouTube, Pocket Mego. He was talking about the question of whether or not VR is a good thing socially and for humanity in general, because it's taking people away from the real world, like it's an escapism. Is the real world so terrible that we have to go into VR, and shouldn't we just make the real world a better place and fix all the things that are wrong? And I thought that was an interesting view, and it's not actually one that I agree with, because I don't think virtual worlds, while they will take our attention away for a period of time, I don't think it's a one thing or the other. And to me, VR allows me to do things and go places and meet people and make friends that I couldn't do in any other way. It's not a case of I'm socializing on VR because, well, no, I couldn't meet any of those people in the real world. It's not that I'm not going into town and meeting all these people face to face. I couldn't meet these people face to face, but more than that, I couldn't meet these kinds of people face to face. The variety and type of people is entirely different. And they're my kind of people, and that makes VR a worthwhile thing. And like I say, it's not a this or this, it's have both. I need water because my voice is going to go, I can feel it. Bear with me. And I'm trying not to knock my camera over. I didn't leave myself much room there. Apologies to those of you who've got a Google Nest. Okay, Google, lights.
Sure. Turning on 4 lights.
Car sims have come so far. I watched a video that was progression of F1 games and beyond 2000. They got good quick. My first experience of F1 games was, I want to say Jeff Crammond's Formula 1 Grand Prix, but I suppose in a sense actually no. Previous to that was Super Monaco Grand Prix in the arcades before the Mega Drive game. The arcade game I love, it's great, it's one of those super scalar games. Knocked my socks off back in the day. Q&A-a-thon required. Thought this was one. I need to check my phone's notifications more often. Think I missed half of your stream already. Don't worry, Mikey, this is going to be going for quite a while, and it's going to be archived, so whatever you've missed you can watch, you can catch up on later. I archive all of my streams. Anything I've ever blathered on at live is all still here, except the ones I deleted because it just wasn't working, and there were quite a few of those last week. I've played Everyone's Gone to the Rapture after having seen you play it, and I love pissing about in the town. As being born in '82, some of the Cars Vans decor are like a step back in time for me. I absolutely know what you mean. It's the Austin Montegos and stuff like that sitting around. That is a brilliant game. It's very nostalgic. Would you say VR chat is CB for the 2020s? Yes and no. Yes, in terms of you can chat with random people who you've never met before and in voice. But no, in the thing about CB that you had with CB that you don't get with anything that's come since is the ability to have what we called an eyeball, or an eyeball club. Though I mean in VR there is that, you have got a face-to-face aspect, but you're seeing you don't know what those people look like. I have no idea what any of the people I'm talking to look like, and there are things you can't just speak to someone, think, yeah, I like this person, I'm getting on great with them, let's go round for coffee or whatever else. You don't have that because the chances are they're a very long way away. So it's similar in some ways and completely different in others. You do lose the impromptu face-to-face meetings that you used to get with CB. I'm a long way back. I've scrolled back. There's quite a lot. I will catch up. I will try. I think that years from now it's going to have been a primitive but recognisable form of whatever they're using at the time. Absolutely. I mean, you can look at a Sinclair ZX81 and look at a modern piece of technology and see how they got from one to the other, and it will be the same VR and AR as it is now. You will be able to, you'll see the progression, you'll understand how it got there. I don't necessarily think you'll be able to look at a ZX81 and understand how you got from that to whatever will be in the future. If they can make money from it, they'll be all over it. Absolutely they will. That ultimately, okay, VR chat is very, very community based. It's made by the users for the most part, and I think it's just the base platform that's provided by a corporation, a company. I don't even know. I do know how it's financed. God knows what the server time costs and if it's profitable. I can't even imagine. My Alexa switched itself off with an advert the other day. Pole position. Yeah, that. Oh God, yeah, that was a very early F1 game. I loved that. Before they had VR, they had streaming voice chat. Yes, I used that a lot. Yahoo Chat, Pal Talk, all of that. Checkered Flag, God yes. Checkered Flag on the Spectrum. That sort of what? Yes. It was by Scion. Wow. I'll be kind and say it was underwhelming. Yeah. I didn't play it. I had a friend who'd got it. I couldn't control it or something, but I had a friend who'd got it because I didn't have a Spectrum, but lots of my friends had Spectrums, and certainly one of them played Checkered Flag a lot and loved it. I just watched. CB was a giggleback. Yeah. CB was brilliant. I had 3 girlfriends from CB. Yeah. It was before the internet, CB was my main way of getting girlfriends, and 3 of them were from the CB. None of them ended well. You get a better quality of person, or you can be more discerning with internet dating. To be honest, I've been lucky with internet dating. I have a way of doing it and dealing with it that works for me, and yeah, I prefer Chucky Egg over Elite. Heathen. Chucky Egg is good, but Elite is a whole different thing. My experience of CB seems different to yours, Steve. I think you just used it, but I ended up going to CB Club with my scout troop, and there were experts to me at the time, and it was way over me. I went to CB clubs, well, CB eyeball clubs. The technical aspect, I just bought a mobile CB, a power supply, Thunderpole Mark III, stuck up on the house, and had a range of about 30 miles, which was great. Wasn't really technically minded, only enough to know how to make it work. Love the Jaguar running in the background. I'll be honest, I'm cheating. It's a Jaguar game. It's running on a Larkbox Pro. I've got a tiny little Larkbox Pro over there, and I was like, what game shall I, because I've got to have a background game. And I mean, there is, you can put, yes, you can see it, can't you? There's my Jaguar is right just there. Look, that's an Atari 2600 Junior. I've got a VIC-20 and a Commodore 64, and you can't see these. There's a Spectrum under there, an Acorn Electron under there, and an N64 just there. Mega Drive with 32X, Sega Saturn, and Sega Dreamcast. PS4 Pro, PS3, PS2, Amiga 1260 Tower, and then a whole room full of other stuff. What was the highlight of this past year? Best game, best blackout? I don't know what you mean by best blackout. Highlight. I mean, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I mean, apart from times spent with Joe, because they're all great. Getting an Oculus Quest and getting it hooked up via Airlink to my gaming PC, which I bought specifically. I've got to be insane. I spent £1,400 on a PC to play VR chat. That's mental. But I make lots of other use of it as well. It's literally, it's been getting into like that side of things. It's been a progression, and meeting lots of people who are unlike the kind of people I've encountered. It's a different kind of crazy people. Yeah, that it's been eye-opening and immense fun. I've still got a CB. It's still a giggle. They don't call it the Muppet Band for nothing. Yeah, oh God, yes, Muppets and Mids. I never had a Mids CB. I had a sidebander that would get half of the mid block, but I was just getting out of CB when Mids was coming in, and it didn't seem like a step forward to me, because it was like the range was shorter or something. Not sure. Or am I thinking there was that other band, wasn't there? That was shorter. One thing I hope Metaverse brings is a form of pseudo-tourism. People could explore far-off cities they may not afford to visit in real life. It could be fun. Well, there is a thing called Wander on Oculus, which is basically a VR. It's not literally VR, but it's Google Street View on a VR headset. So you haven't got the binocular vision, you haven't got stereoscopic vision, but it's immersive. You're in there, you turn your head, and you know, you see everything around you. It's like being there, and that's great. And you can go exploring in an immersive way on that. It would be nice if it was more natural. Movement is the sort of step movement that you get with Street View, but having it on a headset is better than doing it on a desktop. People still use ham radio. Have you considered messing with it? I probably wouldn't recommend it for dating though. No, it is too formalised for my liking. I've got friends who use it, and I know you've got to like take exams and stuff to get a license to use it, and I can't be bothered with that. And honestly, well, I wouldn't be able to put up an antenna where I live anyway, because I'm like renting privately a room in a loft. They wouldn't let me put an aerial up outside, so no, ham is not it's never been an option, but it's even less of an option now than it ever was. Tried internet dating and got a stalker. That's unfortunate. Yeah, you do have to be careful, because there are some crazy people out there, no doubt about it. It can work, but you gotta be cautious. I mean, really, now there are things I could say that I'm not going to go into because it's other people's business, and I'm not going to talk about the things that I know they did, because that would just not be right. Yeah, it can work, but you've got to be careful, and obviously you don't always know. You can take all the precautions you think are reasonable and it still go bad. So yeah, probably as a man I have less concerns than women would reasonably have. I've obviously never seen the other side of it, but I have heard things. I went, and these OAPs were doing more marathons, working out distances. The things looked like they were out of World War II, but probably weren't. Okay, I'm lost. I don't know what that's about. Been on a Jaguar fix lately. Well, good. They're so bad they're great. They are an acquired taste, but I do like them. Paul Daniels had Atari computers, so he should. I love it. I love the 8-bit Ataris, all of them. I think the 8-bit Ataris were fantastic and way ahead of their time. People rave about the Commodore 64. Give me an Atari every time. I mean, when was the Commodore 64? Was it 82, 83, something like that? The Ataris were from 79 and were almost as powerful, and maybe in some ways more powerful. I think they had a faster CPU. Brilliant hardware. Would you ever do a review of Batman Plug and Play? No, because I haven't got it, and I'm not buying plug and plays anymore, so sorry, no. I enjoyed watching a tramp who was off his head on Old English cider back in the day. So we threw... Yeah, that's a dick move, Richard. Don't do things like that. And really, you don't want to be admitting to it, because that's just stupid. Hello, Steve. Glad I'm awake at this hour. Good to see you and catch another stream. Alec, hello, greetings, welcome. Happy New Year. What I think would be great is if you could have a racing game that you could plug in postcodes and race from point to point, i.e. your commute to work. That would be really good. I was kind of... Euro Truck Simulator 2. I really liked that in terms of driving around Britain and trying to go places that I knew, but it was also disappointing in that the representations of the places I knew were so limited. The nearest I ever got to that kind of experience, a realistic-ish representation of places I knew, was The Getaway on PS2. And I do wish they would do something. Yeah, real-world driving simulators in places you know, or Grand Theft Auto Milton Keynes. Give me that. I'd love that. I should snag my father's old Panasonic radio again, one of those cool ones that also do the fun listening frequencies. Not quite ham, but at least adjacent. I've got a thing that a friend of mine gave me. This thing. I don't know what the range is, probably about 2 miles actually. And it's cool because it's what like the security people in the shops use, and they use them in the schools, and it's like public bands, so you can talk on it and I just listen. The last time I spoke on this I was in the Grand Hotel in Scarborough, and there was this family who'd got them, and they were walking around the hotel separately talking to each other, and they were like, well, where's the so-and-so in the hotel? And I chirped up and said, it's on blah blah floor, just go to the lift. And they were like, who is this? Thinking they had the frequencies all to themselves. And I said, I'm just another hotel resident, don't mind me. And the guy says to his wife and his kids, right, okay, come on, let's change channel. Freaked them out completely. I actually thought that was quite rude of them. I helped them out and they're like, whoa, we don't want this weirdo listening to us. Where did I get to? What is the rarest arcade game you have played in the arcades? Probably iRobot. That wasn't a massively successful game. Probably. Yeah, I mean, oh, and there you are. Yes, exactly the same. iRobot. Did you ever do any old hacks like phone phreaking and beige boxing? I learned all these things too late. No, I didn't do that. And that really wasn't much of a thing in the UK, I don't think. I think that was more of a US thing, as far as I know. I've got a friend who some of you will be familiar with, who knows more about that, the blue box and stuff like that. No, I never did that. Had a Nintendo game and watch called Balls. Yeah, it's called Ball. I've got the UK version of that, which it's differently branded, but it is Nintendo Ball. It's branded Time Out and called Toss Up, which if you're English is actually quite a... I don't think they knew what that meant when they decided to name that game for the UK. I have an Atari 2600 Junior 2 with one game, Missile Command. The Juniors are... Back in when the Junior was new, I just looked at them and thought, piece of junk, rubbish, cheap, nasty. Because compared to the bigger consoles, they were cheaper and kind of nasty. But what they are, compared to the older ones, is reliable. I've got two of the... I've got a Heavy Sixer and I've got a Vader. And they both work, but the audio seems to drift off to a different frequency from the video. So you can either have sound or video, but not both. The Heavy Sixer in particular, where the Juniors don't have that problem for technical reasons that I don't understand. So that's why I always have a Junior plugged in instead of me Vader, which is my favourite 2600. Sorry, Steve. World War II comment linked to CB Club. Went to what? Okay. Right. Happy New Year, Richard Bennett. Greetings. Welcome. Happy New Year from the east coast of USA, from the smallest state in the country, Rhode Island. Greetings, Social Gamer. Happy New Year. Welcome. Welcome to me going blah. Steve, would you recommend a modern manufacturer of joystick for the Atari, concerned about cheap quality. Honestly, I have no idea. I haven't got any modern joysticks for vintage hardware. The company that I hear about, and I don't know if are they retro style for modern hardware, or do they actually do them for retro hardware, is 8-bit do, something like that. I don't know if they do them for the old hardware or not, but that's the only company I'm even familiar with the name of, so maybe worth looking into. But other than that, I've got no idea. Flying the Mac Loop in VR is stunning for realism, but radios, you can't beat a UV5R off eBay for 20 quid, but really need a foundation license. Okay, that's just way over my head, I have no idea. Do you remember from a few years ago these Lenovo made Jedi Academy things, basically VR, but only one game? No. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I may have seen them, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Guess they've fallen off the face of the earth. They were sold in Argos. No, I don't know what that is. Atari Firefox. That was a classic game. Yeah, I mean that used laser vision, didn't it? That was laser. I don't know that it was a good game, but it was visually good. I actually learned about iRobot from watching your channel. Glad I did, because it's quite a lot of fun. It's a very fun game. As far as I'm aware, it's the first filled polygon arcade game. It's definitely the first filled polygon video game I ever saw. I mean, I've played vector games before, Battlezone and stuff like that, which was 3D, and did that come before or after iRobot? I'm not sure. I would imagine before. But I mean, in terms of vectors, the first game I played was Speed Freak, and that wasn't really vectors, was it? It sort of cheated. Wasn't really 3D, but the effect was 3D, if that makes sense. It's that racing game you see in my intros. Yeah. You can still dial 0800 89 something something number for free and get places all over the world if you're really bored. I don't know. I'll pass. If you haven't explained already, do you have any fun Benway style plans for the evening? Yeah, I'm gonna be doing this until I basically lose my voice. And then after I've had me tea, I'm going into VR chat, and I'm going to drink and go meow whoever happens to be around, and that will invariably be fun. I don't know how many of the usual crowd are going to be there and how many are off doing other things, and seeing the new year in when you're in an international setting is strange, because everyone's New Year starts at a different time. A good chunk of the people in the group that I hang out in are Dutch and German, and they are, I think they're an hour ahead of us in the UK, give or take a little bit. I've got a friend in Japan who's 9 hours ahead, and I mean, I think they're, I can't do the maths, but I think they've had their New Year already. And then there are a few Americans who are like between 5 and 8 hours behind us. So you know, you're going to be having people saying, "Yeah, Happy New Year," and it's going to come to midnight, and some people are going to be jumping up and down, and others are going to be like, "No." But it will be fun. Alcohol will be consumed. It's invariably fun in there. It's a thing. I need to do a new video on the subject of VR chat, because I did one a few months ago when I had just got on there, and I thought I knew what it was all about, and I thought I knew what it was like,
And as a newcomer, it was accurate. I was describing the experience that you could expect as a newcomer. But as someone who's used it now and found a group of friends that suit me, it is a completely different experience and vastly, vastly better. And it is one of those things, you've got to find your place in there, but once you have, it's bloody awesome. Mr. Doe gives me peace of mind game playing what? Mr. Doe? Yeah, I never really spent a lot of time on that. I had an Acorn Electron version of that game called Mr. Whiz, which I quite liked. The similarities between that and Dig Dug always struck me, and I don't know if I prefer that or Dig Dug. Dig Dug's kind of nasty, I think, exploding dragons with a hose pipe and pump. Hard driving as a kid, I cried because it was too hard. It really was bloody hard, and it was expensive, wasn't it? I mean, was it £1 a go? I think it was. And it was so hard, it didn't feel like good value, because, I mean, they had to charge a lot because it was expensive hardware. I like the game, but I prefer home console versions of it where it's not quite so hard, because I get they needed to get their money back. But when you're charging £1 a time and then make it so hard that you can't progress without piling the money in, it means kids don't get good value for money, because they're not, for many kids, £1 was their entire week's pocket money. Yeah, that game wasn't fair. That's what I call a New Year celebration. It's a great way of going out while staying in. You go out and party in a nightclub and get pissed, but you haven't left your room. And it's anyone who happened to step into this room of a night where I'm in the Black Cat nightclub or wherever else, all they would see is a middle-aged guy sitting in a chair with a VR headset on their face going meow, meow, meow and drinking beer, and think, how sad. But what they're not seeing is that I'm in this bizarre place with a bunch of bizarre people who are all genders, all what's the word? You don't necessarily know who you're talking about. You know, you can probably presume that they're human, but they don't always look it. The variety of people is huge, and the dedication to just having fun is very high. And you go into those places and yeah, the person seeing the old man sitting in a chair going meow will never ever grasp the fun that is being had. Yes, ringing in the new year online with an international crowd can lead to a worrying number of toasts and subsequent hangovers. I had a hangover this morning because it was beer and whiskey. And here's the thing, this is an example of how utterly bizarre VR chat is. Last night was the first time I went to a live event in VR chat, like an organised event, and I spent most of the time in a gay hot tub. And by gay hot tub, I don't mean I was in a hot tub with a bunch of gay people, whether some of them were or weren't. Neither here nor there. What I mean is the hot tub was gay, because the hot tub that we were all sitting in wasn't a part of the game world, it was a person. And the hot tub was talking while we were sitting in the hot tub, and that is just the most bizarre experience you can possibly have, while getting completely hammered and watching a DJ set with music pounding in your ears and people being various different and bizarre creatures. You cannot have an experience like that anywhere else while being a middle-aged person sitting in a chair going meow. Yeah, and I had a hangover. Beats being in some shady club facing an expensive taxi home and a bad hangover. Well, the hangover was real, but yeah, there was no taxi. Literally, I reached the point where I couldn't go on, was like, yep, okay, I'm off, bye all, took off the headset, crashed into bed, and can't consume alcohol, makes me feel ill these days. I went through that, being married to someone who didn't drink meant I didn't drink for the most part. I spent like 10 years not drinking very much, very often, so that when I did drink, I felt sick before I got drunk. Jo drinks, not to excess, but you know, she likes to drink, so I like a drink, and now I drink more, and I built up a tolerance so that I can drink and get... I can't really get hammered, to be honest. I can get warm and fuzzy, pleasantly silly, before I start feeling dodgy. Yeah, I can see that spam bot. I don't know. I'll scroll down a bit and... No, I don't think they're continuing to... I mean, whatever they've said there doesn't make any sense, so whatever. Just popping in to say hi, Happy New Year, Steve, all the best. Hello, Riddler, Happy New Year. Greetings, welcome. Thank you for joining, however brief. Nice to see you. In arcade in Blackpool, my dad had to help me. Yeah. Freaky deaky dude. Gotta go here, so I wish you a Happy New Year now. To you and everyone here. Thanks for the videos, Mr. Benway. I always enjoy watching them, being an old bugger myself. Thank you, freaky deaky dude. Take care. Happy New Year. Have a good one. Thank you for joining. I had a VR setup. I would... Oh, if... What? I'll start reading that again. Had I a VR setup, I would join you and troll on the side without interfering. That is a thing. There are lots of people in VR who... Well, mutes. Mutes are a thing. They are in there, they're in the world, they may or may not have a headset, or just be... You don't have to have a VR setup to go into VR chat. You can play it on the desktop. I know lots of people who do. I don't know if they're using keyboard and mouse or a controller or whatever, but literally, if you've got a PC that's adequately capable, you can go into VR chat and join in. And some people are just mute. They just hang around the periphery and watch and listen. One of my best friends on VR chat is a mute. When I encountered them first, they had full body tracking and a fancy VR headset, and that has now, like, it's not working, and they're now on a PC desktop and still a mute, and it's definitely harder to be a mute if you're on desktop, because you don't have all the body motions and movements and whatnot to convey a message. But it can be done, especially if you combine using Discord. So it can be done, and it's fun. Can't remember how I found your channel. Probably Acorn Electron videos or BBC Micro, Atari, etc. Either way, thanks for keeping the good vibes going. Modern generation are so spoiled. We had pixels and teletext. Yeah. I never had teletext. I have never used teletext. I've had friends with it. But I never used it myself. I didn't really get what it was about, and when I saw it being used I didn't see the appeal because it was so slow, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. If you regenerate as the next Doctor, where would you go first, in time or space? God. You see, going... I don't know. I mean, it would be interesting to go forward and see if the world is heading for disaster or not, and try and do something about that, but then who would believe me unless time travel was a known and recognised thing? Going back in time, I suppose it would be good to go back and tell myself this week's winning lottery numbers so I could change my future to being absolutely loaded. But the thing is, and this was part of the conversation we had last night, there was a chap who was, his name is C, and he was a very, very clever guy. When it comes to time travel, it is either not possible, because if it was possible, we would have noticed by now, we would have noticed the effects, or the multiverse is how it actually works. So if you change time, you don't actually change time, you create another pathway of time where one is affected and one is not, and the people, we wouldn't notice. If I went back and told myself told myself the winning lottery numbers, me here would not suddenly be rich. There would just be another parallel reality where the me in that one was rich. So it kinda wouldn't help. It wouldn't change anything. It would just create another reality where things were different. But since we're not in that reality, we've got to make do with what we've got. What have I been playing most platform-wise these days? Quest VR, totally. That's about all I've been playing. PlayStation, no. Retro stuff, no. It's all been VR. Early, but all the best for 2022, everyone. Don't get too drunk later. Tactical Pirate, hi, greetings, Happy New Year. Yeah, there will be drinking being done later. Probably going to have another hangover, but won't get too hammered. The late night dating pages were pretty hilarious. Never saw any of those. Again, I didn't do The best thing about time travel is that it doesn't matter when you do it. Well, yeah, there is that. Your Christmas Day was hazy. My Christmas Day was spent working. I worked Christmas Day, Boxing Day and Bank Holiday Monday. Though Christmas Day, when once I finished work and got back and gone to Joe's, Christmas Day evening was very pleasant. It was down to earth, comfortable, warm and fuzzy and nice, and that was a nice Christmas. But I mean, the daytimes I was at work, and it was actually, that's, never mind the busiest Christmas I've worked, that's the busiest I have worked in my current job. Those 2 days, they were mental. What the heck is the next Elder Scrolls? When the heck is the next Elder Scrolls happening? I don't know. Honestly, I haven't got a clue. I look forward to it because I really do like Elder Scrolls. Certainly since Oblivion anyway. I've got Morrowind on the original Xbox, and I probably played it for about an hour and was like, nah. Probably just because the graphics are so of their time, and I wanted something that looked better than that. But Oblivion and onwards, love it. Which, I say Oblivion and onwards, that's only 2 games. It's Friday, you're allowed to have a hangover tomorrow. It's New Year's Eve, I'm allowed to have a hangover tomorrow. Normally I would be at work on a Saturday, which is why I don't drink on a Friday night. I work weekends, which is kind of a pain in the arse, but on the other hand it pays well. I do get paid, my weekend pays more than the whole week I used to work in my previous job, so it works out okay. Good to hear that you got to spend a happy evening at least. Yeah, it was nice. And I can't complain about having to work in the daytime because, firstly, I didn't have to. I was asked if I would, and I agreed. And I agreed because they gave me a shitload of money for doing it. That is the most I have ever been paid to work 6 hours on Christmas Day. Yeah, crazy money, and I was like, yes, okay, I'll do that, no problem, thank you very much. Roll on payday. I love Skyrim. It's redefining gaming for me. I tried Oblivion but struggled with the older engine controls after Skyrim. I guess that's a common issue going backwards. Yeah, Oblivion is harder, and the controls are definitely not as good. I struggle when I get into a combat situation, which is often when you get into those towers. I do die a lot more often in Oblivion than I do in Skyrim. But it's still visually nice. I think the thing that blew me away with Oblivion was standing in a field and looking at all the grass and the flowers swaying, because I'd never seen that before. Up until that point, visually, the best graphical thing I had seen was the original God. I know exactly what I'm thinking, and I can't. Mental blank now. Wait. Far Cry. Yeah, Far Cry was visually the best thing I'd seen up until that point. On PC, I don't think I'd played Crysis at that time. So when I saw all this grass swaying in the breeze in Oblivion, I was like, wow, that's gorgeous. Never mind that the gameplay was tough as nails. Oh, I had forgotten how much doing these streams trashes my voice. Yeah, more money is good. It's only one day. It was actually 3 days, but it was lots of money for 3 days. But I have lately been thinking about this old Primus lyric from Spaghetti Western. Funny thing about weekends when you're unemployed, they don't mean quite so much, except you get to hang out with your working friends. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I've spent time unemployed. I have spent time employed, but not really working. I made my living online. And I didn't have to do much. I had a load of things set up that just worked. Advertising on websites, income from YouTube, stuff like that. And I spent a significant time, literally didn't have to work. It was great, but not only did weekends come to not mean anything, not much of anything came to mean anything. I stagnated, and life became kind of pointless. It was not a good way to exist. I think work, it adds value to your time when you're not at work. You value it more. The trick is getting a balance, so you can be doing a level of work that suits you and pays you well enough to live, but still gives you lots of time to just do your own thing. I think I've got that, more or less. I live cheaply, so I don't need to do like 40 hours a week. I don't think I could physically do 40 hours a week anymore. I'm a bit of a wreck. Which Sony console 1 to 4 would you say is the best, but not in a successful factor? Well, that's a tricky one, because The one I've got most games for is the PS2. I have got a shit ton of games for that. But if I was gonna go and play on one, I would play on the PS4. And yet the PS4 is getting a thing now, modern gaming, that I don't like, which is the whole, a lot of it feels like old Facebook games. I spoke about this kind of recently. There's something very artificial about a lot of the play mechanics and the way they make you grind or pay money. Artificial progress, like gotta collect all of these items, which adds nothing to the game. There are a lot of elements creeping into modern games that appear on the PS4 that I'm like, I don't recognise that as quality gaming or having anything to do with gaming, but the kids today don't know any different, so they don't realise they're being messed about. So while if I was to play a console game now, the PS4 is the one I would turn on. In terms of the quality of the games, given the hardware it was running on at the time, I would say PS2. That was proper console gaming. You put your disc in and you played it. What was on the disc was what you got. There was no faffing about with updates. There was no day one patch that's bigger than the game itself. There was no DLC. There was no microtransactions. There was no bullshit, gotta collect them all crap just to pad the game out because the game wasn't big enough. It was proper. Yeah. So while it might not have the visual fidelity and the realistic physics and the impressive AI, in terms of actually being proper video games, complete content, PS2. If you can work a few days a week and fund a life you love, you've basically won. Yeah, that's pretty much how I'm viewing it. I have got a really good work, real life, virtual life balance. My life is split into three, really. I go to work, I go to Joe's, I sit here in VR. And the balance, I think is working. I can't remember ever being happier and more really into it all. Do you still keep up with retro prices on eBay? Things are just insane right now. Honestly, no, I don't. I haven't got a clue what things cost. I know I used to, that was a feature of my website back when I did it. I tracked the price of things. And I knew what everything cost. Now, I haven't got a clue. I remember what things were costing when I was tracking them. And like, you could get a Commodore 64 for 50 quid. I don't know what they cost now. I haven't got a clue. In fact, you could get them for 30 quid. I got mine for a tenner at a car boot sale. I got my Commodore PET for a tenner at a car boot sale. I got my C64 GS for a tenner at a car boot sale. God, I don't know what these things cost now. I am reaching the point where the stuff that I don't have set up here or have easily plug-inable with multiple games already on them, I want to sell. But having said that, I'm not ready to sell, if that makes sense. I'm not ready for the actual physical reality of packing things, going through the crap of eBay, but also packing things up and sending them off and dealing with the money. I can't remember what it is. There's someone who's messaged me on Facebook and saying, I want to buy your blah, or sell me your blah. Obviously didn't watch the whole video where I was saying I'm wanting to sell, but don't message me saying I want to sell, I want to buy blah. Don't do that. I'm not doing that. It's too... too many pitfalls, way too the possibilities for that going wrong. I don't want to get into. I need a schedule. I need that anchor. Yeah. Oblivion, if played on the Xbox One, plays better. No idea why, it just does, for me anyway. Some games are just better on different consoles, like Half-Life 2, great on PC. I don't know about on Xbox 360, but I know on PS3 Half-Life 2 is appalling. It's terrible, it's god-awful. Game developers and publishers realise they can make us pay $60 to $70 for a game and still have all that microtransaction and virtual in-game currency bullshit. Yeah, they do. It frustrates me. It makes me angry. Time was microtransactions were a way of funding a free game, and fair enough. As a business model, I don't like it, and I would rather buy a game and own it. But for people who want a free game, microtransactions are a good way for a developer to get their money back. But when you're putting microtransactions in an expensive game, that to me is just greedy and wrong, and I despise it. But the youth of today don't know any different, because that's all they've known. Yeah. My favourite sim is Orbiter 2016. I've flown to ISS, Mir, Moon, Mars, Deimos, etc. Took the space shuttle to lunar orbit on unlimited fuel. Not easy to learn, but satisfying when you get it right. I'm not familiar with that. Having said that, back in the day, I did enjoy playing the shuttle simulator on the Atari 2600. And I was impressed with the way they actually used the toggle switches on the console as shuttle controls. I can't remember what each toggle switch did, and I think it probably wouldn't work too well on an Atari Junior. But on one of the old consoles, probably better on a 6-switcher, it was really fun. I mean, graphically really primitive, obviously, but I was 14. I remember playing it and thinking it was fantastic and showing it to my mother and being disappointed that she didn't think it was impressive in any way whatsoever. Grown-ups. Benway, Happy New Year. It's already New Year here in Japan. I thought it might be. Have a good one in the old country. Hello, Banshan. Happy New Year. Greetings and welcome. I've got a friend in Japan who I chat with in VR, and yeah, 9 years, Jesus, 9 hours ahead of us, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Some of your rare 8-bit machines are now worth a lot of money. Yeah, I know some of them are. The most valuable one is probably still going to be my Jupiter Ace, because that was expensive when I bought it. It is difficult to gauge the actual value when you get some buy it now people setting a price that's insane. There is a user on eBay, I'm going to name them ZX9R Ninja, who set mental prices. I don't know if anyone has ever bought from that person, but those prices are insane. But some people look at them and think that's what stuff actually costs. But honestly, never look at the buy it now price as being a legit price. It's always what an auction ends at. That's the one to pay attention to. So you actually have to follow auctions through to their end to know what the going rate actually is. Unless there are no auctions, and the only way of buying a piece of hardware is through a buy it now. And then it's a seller's market, no doubt about it. Do you have any favourite Atari 8-bit computer games? Almost certainly, and I can't remember while I think about it. I think the one that impresses me the most is you're in a spaceship and there's this procedurally drawn landscape underneath you, and you've got to go down and rescue someone who's like crashed in the mountains or something, and I can't remember what it's called. I don't know if it's a good game, but I was always impressed by that landscape. Attack of the Mutant Camels is obviously brilliant. There are others, and I just can't think. I've just seen Gran Turismo 7 on PlayStation Network. £90. Is that for like a deluxe edition, or is that like standard? Because God, wait a minute. I've got to. Removing that. Rescue on Fractalus. That's the one, yes, I can see a whole bunch of you saying that down at the bottom there. That's the game I'm thinking of. I don't know if it's a good game in terms of gameplay, but as a technical achievement, I think it's brilliant. Yeah, there's no way in hell I'm paying 90 quid for Gran Turismo. I don't care how much I love the franchise, I'm not paying that. To be honest, since I bought this PC, and since how I manage my time in terms of playing games and the kind of games I want to play, I don't think I'm going to buy a PS5. I've had every generation of PlayStation up until now. I might just be done with consoles. There's so much that's appearing on the consoles that I look at it and I think, that's not for me. The direction of games has gone somewhere that I don't like, I can't relate to. It just doesn't mean anything to me, so I'm like, I think I'm done with them. It's all going to be like Steam, stuff off of Steam and Steam VR. It's a free complete sim by some physics professor and it's complex. Lol, mums hate computers because you can... Right. New Year here in Australia too. Happy New Year. Chock-a-block. Did you ever play or get into Elite games, notably Elite Dangerous? I've thought about jumping into it and seeing if I can dig it. Yes. The one I played the most was original Elite, the first Elite on the Acorn Electron. Well, it was originally on the Beeb, but I had it on the Electron, and then played it on the Amiga as well. Loved it, played it for years. Literally years. I played Elite Frontier Elite 2 on the Amiga, and loved that, but reached a point where I just couldn't progress. And eventually gave up, but I enjoyed it while I was playing it, though I did find the anti-piracy feature of every so often getting asked a question where the answer was in the novel that came with it was a pain in the arse, but obviously necessary, I guess. I have got Elite Dangerous on the PS4. I played it for a while and was impressed by it, but then reached a point where I had picked up some stuff that was apparently something I shouldn't have picked up. It was stolen. I've been in a space battle and I recovered some of the debris cargo from the person who I'd blown up and got penalised for it and basically couldn't sell it, and it was too far to go somewhere where I could sell it, and I couldn't work out how to just jettison it, and I stopped playing it at that point. I have once booted it up just to see what it looks like in VR, and it looked cool, but I couldn't work out how to control it. I didn't get very far there. I think it's a good game. I think I prefer No Man's Sky, which is a game I've also stopped playing. Actually, because I've got a new consoles, and I didn't have I didn't save my save to the cloud. It meant starting over, and I do need to try playing that again because they keep updating No Man's Sky so that it's huge and massive and lived up to the original promise. But yes, Elite Dangerous probably, well, I think it's well worth playing. My reason for stopping it was not necessarily a legitimate reason, and it was no way the fault of the game. It was just me not knowing what I was doing and being too damned lazy to sort out the situation that I'd got myself into with the game. People are taking the mick on eBay now for old tech. Yeah, I imagine they are. Yeah. Jeff Minter was sick back on the ST with psychedelic games. Well, yeah. I mean, he's always been impressive in terms of his programming ability and what he does with 2D and to a degree 3D. Procedural effects, I think, a lot of the time. He would probably, well, I don't know if he would acknowledge it or be pissed off by me saying it. I don't find his games to be original. They seem to be like based on games that already exist, but continually tweaked and altered in subtle ways. They're always brilliant, almost always brilliant fun to play, without ever being groundbreaking in themselves, which is no reason not to play them, because they are ultimately fun, and at the end of the day that's what matters. £90 to pre-order. Sod that. that's Gran Turismo. No, just no, not going to. Sod that. There was a classic jump scare section on Rescue on Fractalus before jump scares were even a thing. Do you know, I never actually hit that point, I don't think. I don't think I ever managed to land and rescue the guy because I crashed while trying to land, and I've not played it that often. I was more good at whizzing along and going, wow, this looks amazing, than actually playing the objective. There was one called the Eidolon. They used a similar fractal method of generating the 3D. I played it on the Commodore 64. The name rings a bell, but I don't think I've ever played it. Sounds like Land on the Archimedes. Don't think I ever played that either. Okay. The Eidolon, I'm almost certainly pronouncing that wrong, used the same algorithm as Rescue on Fractals, except it inverted everything to make caves. I'm also fed up of how gaming is going. However, I'm looking forward to the Elden Ring next year. Being a huge fan of the Soul series. I don't know that either. That is the thing with gaming at the moment. There are so many games. It used to be that you could you would have your big games, your big game release or releases, and you could have them all because games weren't that big. Where now you've kind of got to pick and choose and maybe pick your favourite developer or your favourite franchise or your favourite genre. You can't play everything anymore and have a hope of keeping up. And that's possibly partly why I'm sort of disillusioned with modern gaming on consoles. I can't keep up. I hear game and franchise titles and I've got no idea what they are because there are just so many. I look on PlayStation Store and it's like scroll, 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 and I'm like, don't know what that is, that. Oh, saturation. It's like, It's like you do on Netflix. You sit there scrolling for 2 hours and then you've run out of time to watch the film that you couldn't decide what to choose anyway. It's just crazy. Is there a version of Tempest in VR and have you played it? I don't think so. There is the Polybius is a thing that you can play in VR, which is, it's not really Tempest at all, but it is a Jeff Minter game, and it is an into the screen shooty thing while stuff comes out at you. That's probably the nearest, but I don't think Tempest any type is in VR. I might be wrong, but I don't recall seeing any. That is a Minter game playing in the background, yes, that is Tempest 2000 for the Jaguar. It's running on an emulated Jaguar. Well, there is a Jaguar right just there. That's running on my Larkbox Pro, which is sitting just over there. Just because I didn't know what I was going to have on here at the time. It wasn't a decision to have Tempest 2000 in the background. It was just like, let's find a game, any game, doesn't matter, and that was the one I chose. Frontier on the Amiga is my most played game of all time. Thousands of hours on it. I played it for a lot, not that many. I'm not sure the most hours I've ever put into a game. It's either going to be Elite, one of the Gran Turismos, and I couldn't tell you which, possibly Gran Turismo 2, maybe Gran Turismo 3, maybe Gran Turismo 6, don't know. Or I put a lot into Skyrim. I think it's going to be one of the other ones. Decided to get Skyrim VR on my Quest 2 after seeing your stream on it. I modded it up to the giblets and it's great. I haven't modded mine. I should. I want to. I just haven't got round to it. I'm kind of nervous about modding, but yeah, it does look dated. After playing Half-Life Alyx and seeing just how good VR can look. Because like when you play native Quest games, you get used to a certain level of visual fidelity, and so playing Skyrim, it's a step up from that. And you think, wow, this is great. But then you play Half-Life Alyx and it's like, wow, no, Skyrim looks out of the arc. So I probably should mod it. I'm at the stage now, I have more games than I will ever play. That's not even counting the retro stuff. I have almost 1,000 games on PC. Most I have not paid a penny for. That is the thing, isn't it? I've got a lot of games that I didn't pay for beyond the subscription fee on the PS4. I don't bother installing stuff onto my PC that I'm not going to play. And then I uninstall ones that I've bought and am not going to play regularly because it's so easy to just fill the hard drive. And I'm more likely to get a new PC before I ever get round to playing them, so it's not, I don't even think, I'll just stick an external hard drive on there. I won't commit the storage space to having games that I won't play. Also looking forward to Dying Light 2. Loved the first one. I don't know what that is. There's tons I haven't. Jeff Minter was ill when working. Oh, I get what's going on there. Yeah. I don't understand modern slang, the kids today, and how did sick suddenly mean good? Like something is sick, it's great, and something is the shit. Well, when I were a lad, something was shit, it was bad. Now if it's the shit, it's good. What happened? And then there are some words that are just like completely made up and make no peng. What the peng and lit? I mean, yeah, I'm old. I don't. These words are not meant for me, but I hear them and I just think, when I were a lad, words meant something. My favourite words you said this year: geezer faffing about balls. Thanks for making me laugh. Well, these are normal words. They mean something. Enjoy your New Year, Steve. I'm off to bed. Have a good course. It's going to be late there, isn't it? Thank you, Bansham. Happy New Year to you. Hope you have a good one. Thank you for joining. Hey Steve, what do you think about the new analog pocket? Not sure if someone already asked this. No one has asked it. I am honestly completely indifferent. I get that it is the most accurate form of emulating the hardware because it's a FPGA thing. I get that, and I believe you can actually plug the cartridges into it, can't you? But I've got lots and lots of handhelds that run software emulation, and they run Game Boy stuff. I mean, they might not be perfect, but I don't care. They're good enough. To my eye, they look good enough. And they'll run a whole lot more stuff besides. So to me, the analog pocket doesn't make sense. I would not spend money on it. I don't look at it and think, I've got to have one of them. I'm like, I don't care about FPGA. It might be the most accurate way of emulating stuff, but I don't care. What does peng mean? I don't think that one has made its way over to Australia. I think if someone is peng, they're attractive, they're sexy, they're hot. I think it's like, yeah, she's well peng. I think, but I'm not sure. It's one of those words that there are other words like that, and I might be confusing it, but I think it means that. I always regret not using Amiga for audio production. I watched videos recently using it as a sequencer and making drum and bass. Missed out on this until I got PC years later. Yeah, the Amiga was good for that, but the audio outputs were not great. In terms of it was 8-bit, and you could combine the audio channels together and get 14-bit, which was alright, but it really wasn't up to the standard that you would want if you were going to release something commercially. It was alright for recording something onto tape. I made a CD doing it that way, and gave a copy to someone, and they were like, that just sounds wrong. And it was only eventually I worked out that I could mix it down using the processor, bypassing the audio altogether and saving it as a AIFF, and then burned the AIFF to CD using a piece of software, and it's so it was 16-bit, using 16-bit samples, and that sounded okay. In terms of actual sequencing, it was great. It was really easy, and I loved it. And I wish there was software that worked that. There probably is software that works like that now, but tracker software. It was great. It was one of the main things that I did with it. I mean, I did a lot with my Amiga. While it was a gaming computer primarily, I did 3D rendering with it. I did 2D graphics like Deluxe Paint, making pictures with it, and music with Octamed Sound Studio. That's what I used. It was brilliant. Hello, Peter. Oh wow, so glad I didn't miss this. You missed a big chunk of it. Happy New Year to you, Steve, and everyone. Happy New Year, Peter. I'm not going to read your name out. You know I'm saying hello to you. Peng. General, a thing of for awesomeness. Check out the Pengist Munch. Thank you, Alec. Yeah, I don't know how that became a word, or who came up with that as a word and how, because I don't understand. Yeah, see, Chock-a-Block is saying, I hear Peng and I think Pingu, which is obvious, it can't be where it's coming from, but that's the only mental connection I can make when I hear the word. And I mean, okay, Pingu's fun, but what? I need to finish up my dumb thing that I want to write to MD for my next album. Make the packaging. One will be definitely earmarked with your name. Cool. Wait, write to MD mini disc. I do like your stuff, Alec. It's that first tape that you sent me. It still comes up because it's on my phone. I've got the MP3 tracks, and I must confess I listen to the MP3s more than the tape, just because convenience. But they come up when I'm playing on random shuffle, and I'll be walking through town, and this music will come up, and it's unlike anything else. But because I've listened to so much, I'm like, who's this? This is great. And I look, and it's you. So, yeah, it's impressive. I use Sony Acid, actually Magix Acid Pro now. Thanks for the answer. I knew you'd have experience with trackers. Magix. I've got some Magix software because they bought out, I'm pretty sure it's them who bought out Sony Vegas. They've got this annoying habit of buying out really, really good software and then wrecking it. Because Vegas now is not nearly what it was when Sony were doing it. They've dumbed it down to the point that it's not as good as it used to be. Peng is a London borough, I thought, always in Danny Dyer films. Danny Dyer films, God, I can't read. Mini disc. I wondered if that's what you meant when you said MD. Can't remember if you sent you my mini disc of that old album yet. But if not, I will definitely get one. Don't send me a mini disc because I haven't got a mini disc player. I haven't got anything that will play it. I haven't. Actually, no, I have got tape recorders now, but they're not. I haven't got a stereo with a tape deck. And playing anything on a tape recorder that I've got will not sound good. But yeah, the stuff that I heard of yours on MP3, awesome. Vegas video used to be great. Yeah, I mean, Sony Vegas Pro was the industry standard once upon a time. It's like that's what professionals used, and that's when I started using it. And then Sony sold it, and it's like no one uses it now, except me. But I don't like it. It's just what I've got. Thank you, Steve, for another year of great videos. Looking forward to 2022. Well, Happy New Year and thank you for watching. It's I've not been uploading as much as I used to, but they will keep on coming. I'm trying to keep it to at least one a week. that no video this week, but that's why I'm doing this now, because I don't know. I find myself more in the mood for streaming than making videos. The process of editing and everything. Yeah, I'd rather talk to people. Did you play any more Half-Life Alyx yet? Yes, I did. I'm getting really aggravated by the jump mechanic on the controller, where if you pull back on the stick you jump, and that would be fine if you jumped only when you pulled directly back, but you can be turning, and if you're not exactly like horizontal or pushing forward slightly, if you've got any of a backward motion while turning, you jump, and that's terrible. And I've died and lost energy so many times because I've jumped when I didn't want to, and I've got to see if there's a way of fixing that, because it's almost game breaking. It's ridiculous, and they should have found a better way of doing it. But the game itself, other than that control, absolutely loving it. It's brilliant. I think it's slower paced than Half-Life 2 because being in VR and the way it controls and everything. So it's more puzzle based than action based, but it's great. And the visual clarity of it, I mean, it is so near to just literally being somewhere else, and visually believing it without having to suspend disbelief. It's that close. Not quite there, but it's really close. Magic's killed off Movie Studio and use its name for their own video editing software, which doesn't even support Movie Studio project files fully. Yeah, quite. They've just ruined it. It's just bollocks. I use it because it's what I've got, but I'm not sure. I think I'm using version 16. I think. I initially bought 11, and then I got a later one, and it was 13, and it was worse than 11, and now I've got 16, and they've taken away the picture-in-picture. I had to use a cookie cutter to get a picture-in-picture, and it was stupid. I don't understand why they've done it. They've ruined it. Nobody seems to want them, despite me trying to make them special physically back then. I think the thing is, people haven't kept, a lot of people haven't kept their, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Their old audio kit. I never had a mini disc player. I still have tape recorders because I need them to load tape games, but those tape recorders are not ideal for listening to audio. But I'm not where I used to live, so it's like, don't put anything in the post using any address you might still have for me, because I ain't there anymore. This time last year you were playing Battlefield 5. Why I remember these things, I don't know. That sounds highly probable. It's still the most recent Battlefield game that I played, though I haven't played it in a while. And I still like Battlefield 4 is my favourite of the Battlefield games. Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 since then aren't as good. They're visually better, but less fun. I'm not sure, they just seem to get too serious or something. Or the other players got better or I got worse, but I just don't do as well and don't have as much fun on them, so I've not really played any of the Battlefield games recently. I think I changed that setting for that reason. Don't know. Is that about the cookie cutter and the picture-in-picture? Maybe. Don't know. I just looked up where Peng originated from, as in how it came about. I won't state it here. I don't think that YouTube would approve. Right. I'd say I can imagine, but I can't. But I understand what you mean. I can't begin to guess what it means. What am I looking forward to this year? I don't know. No, I'm looking forward to the last week of January and the first 2 weeks of February or something like that, because I've got almost 3 weeks off work. So I'm not looking forward to any specific games or hardware or events. I'm just looking forward to having time to do whatever I feel like, and quite a lot of time. Yeah, that I really am looking forward to, and it's I want to use it productively. I'm either going to try and learn how to make VR chat avatars using Unity, but more likely I'm going to make some new music using this new PC, because I couldn't do it with my laptop because it doesn't have adequate audio inputs, or it doesn't have any audio inputs where my gaming PC does. So I want to try and make some more music. Whether or not I achieve that, I don't know, but that's the plan. I might wind up doing something entirely different, but yes, I'm looking forward to having time off work. It'll be fun. Battlefield 5 really let me down. I've enjoyed 1 at times, but I just want to go back to the good old days. Yeah. And then returning to 3 or 4, I generally just get my butt kicked by sweaty snipers and unbalanced teams. I haven't gone back to 3 at all. The last time I tried 3, I guess the servers were down. It just didn't want to work. The last time I played 4, the problem I have is actually finding active servers, or rather, well, yes, the servers are up, but there's no one on them. So I'll find a game and I'll play it, and then when it moves to the next level, the next map, people drift away and they're not replaced by new players. So you go from having a map with like 64 people in it to having a map with 6 people in it. And that's, you can't have a game like that. So yeah, maybe it's to do with the time of day that I play, but I don't find it, you just can't, I couldn't go back to it and play it and have fun. I've heard the newest one, Battlefield 2042, has all sorts of problems. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard it's not good at all. Battlefield 5, when it came out, was also a mess, and they did eventually fix it, though it's never been great in my opinion. So they must have lost. Have they lost developers, like key team members who know how to make games, or have they just lost their mojo altogether? I don't know, but certainly things have not been great with them for, well, since Battlefield 4, honestly. I've not seen much. I've not looked at any videos. I've seen trailers. And I think just my general indifference to modern gaming, I look at it and I think, but I don't get the urge to play it. I think I'm in a completely different place in terms of what I want to do gaming wise these days, and yeah, I won't be getting that one. I can't think of a game that's on the way that I want. I don't know of anything. Elder Scrolls, if there's a new Elder Scrolls game coming, I want that. I want a new Grand Theft Auto. Are they working on one? Is there a Grand Theft Auto 6? I don't know. When that comes, if that comes, I will get that. I'm not interested in Grand Theft Auto Online. They just keep spending all their time developing that, and I'm like, I don't care. The next game I do know that I will get, that I know they're working on, is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the Oculus Quest. And I mean, it's an old game and it looks dated, but it'll be great in VR. Okay, standard Quest graphics can do better than that. And thinking about it, I mean, it's going to be a conversion of the Android version of the game, which is not as good as the PS2 version, which is a shame. And to think that they used the Android version as the basis for these new super updated versions that are completely bodged. I hope they do a better job than that when they put it on the Quest. But that's the only game I can name at the moment that I'm waiting for and want, that I know is coming soon. I don't think there are many people from the original dev team left at DICE. Probably not. Apparently GTA 6 is coming. I hope so. I hope they do a good job of it. There are no guarantees of them making a good game. San Andreas was brilliant. GTA 4, I think I like GTA 4 more than a lot of people, though I've never finished it. But GTA 5 is so fantastic. There's so much for them to live up to that they might try too hard and get it wrong. Just played through Cyberpunk on PS4, of all things, and did enjoy it. Had a lot of laughs at the bugs. It was a boatload of fun. I like Cyberpunk, and I played it on PS4 Pro, and didn't notice too many bugs. There's a few annoyances. What I don't like is the interface, and being absolutely flooded with options and flooded with optional missions. It's like the side missions, they just keep throwing them at you. Here's a side mission, and it's like you can't keep up with them, so I just stuck to the main storyline and ignored the side missions, and had the intention of going back and doing them after finishing the main story, but I haven't done that, because it's the usual thing, step away from it for a little while, come back later, forgotten how to play it. But I did like it. I think it's a good game, but very flawed. 2024, is that one of the prequels to the 24? I don't know. Some old games like Wipeout would be good to see in VR, like sticking your head inside the TV. Well, Wipeout HD, Wipeout Fury, and Wipeout something or other else, 348, they're on PSVR and they are fantastic. I can't remember if I have done videos or streaming of those. I think I have streamed them while playing them. They're brilliant in VR. The problem with games is that there is too much choice. Like when flicking through TV channels, yes, this is exactly what I was saying earlier. Totally, too much choice. Can't choose. I've always liked Vice City 4 and 5 single player. Can't do the online mode. Spawn equals dead. Yeah, I've only ever played Grand Theft Auto Online on the PS3, which was, as far as I can tell, a really dumbed down version. There didn't seem to be missions, or if there were, I was unaware of them. I just went in, there were people, they shot at each other. I would have rather walked around and had a chat with them, but that wasn't happening. I've never played any other online GTA. Never got into Vice City. Everyone says how good Vice City is, but I find the world too small. And the music, though I love 80s music, it didn't work for me at all. Edinburgh Retro PC, greetings and welcome, Happy New Year. Yeah, I liked the Cyberpunk 2077 too. Played it on PC and only had a couple of minor bugs. The world and characters were pretty great and the story was decent. I agree. Yeah, it is. It's a good story. And who was it? Who was there? There was someone in VR chat last night who was in a Johnny Silverhand avatar. And that was really cool. I can't remember who it was, but that was impressive. And I think it might have been lifted straight out of the game. Magneti. Yes, it was, wasn't it? I was sitting there looking at that and thinking, that's really cool. And he's got another one, hasn't he? Because he's got one of the band members. Because he was in that a week ago or so. I remember looking at it and thinking, yeah, that's cool. I'll have to look them up. Don't have a VR. Played recent 3. Played through. God, I'm losing it. V recently, finally, and loved the single player. Don't have any need to go online. Oh, Grand Theft Auto, right? Yeah, yeah. It's one of the few games, like modern games, that I've completed. And was really pleased when I completed it because it took me a while because I spent so long just twatting about. Kinda don't like the Miami vibes of Vice City. What the hell? Google, what are you doing to me lights? I think the power in this place is going a bit iffy. We had a power out in one of the rooms downstairs a few days ago. It resulted in the fire alarm going off at 3 in the morning. That wasn't fun. Kent Paul is the best bit about GTA Vice City, to be fair. No idea. I've not got that far into the game. I've never really got beyond the intro section, and I just wind up driving around in the car listening to the music and being a prat. What's the last movie you watched? Did you see the new Matrix or Spider-Man? No, I've not watched either of those. I want to see both of them. I think the new Spider-Man film is meant... everything I hear about that says it's fantastic. The Matrix film, I've heard mixed reviews about that. I haven't seen it yet. Last film I saw was Don't Look Up on Netflix, and it's a good film. It's fun. It's not your typical... It's tongue-in-cheek. It's definitely not taking itself seriously, but it's making a very, very valid point about the state of media and politics in the world at the moment, and that makes it a good film. The last blockbuster film I saw was No Time to Die, the recent James Bond film, and they totally did the right thing in holding on to that. No spoilers, but if you're going to watch that film, and you should, because it's the best James Bond film ever, for God's sake see it soon, because the risk of seeing spoilers will ruin it for you. If you see spoilers, you need to see it. Really good. Have to say you have been the most attentive streamer, answering everyone's comments. Thanks for the effort. Great bunch on here. Wish everyone the best. Thank you, Tech Tinkering. I do try. I try very hard to answer. I mean, it's all about interaction. I value my audience. I know many of these people here and have known for many years, and I think it would be shortchanging people if I ignored them and didn't answer what they're answering, because I consider many of these people here to be my friends. Played the heck out of it. Out out of it, and then actually finished Vice City. Oh, heck out of 3 and then played Vice City. Vibe with the latter, but there's a lot of nostalgia, in my opinion, on it. Don't Look Up is great. Yes, it is. Michael Myers versus Jason. Never. No idea. I don't kind of have an opinion on Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees to the extent that I actually don't know the difference. I believe one is Friday the 13th and one is Halloween. I'm aware of them as franchises and those as two separate people, but in my head they're exactly the same thing. Isn't the new James Bond movie a feminist propaganda, anti-male type of shit? No, it's not. Tell you what. We don't need that kind of crap in here. Spoilers, we do not need. Hello, Red D. Greetings and welcome. Regular guy. I tell you, I mean that. Like Channel 19. I don't know what Channel 19 is. But YouTube is different to how it used to be. Very, very different. And it's partly why I use it differently now. Back in the day, YouTube was about the user, and it was about ordinary people. I mean, originally, back in the very, very early days, it was just prank videos, and it was kind of unfocused, and it was a bit rubbish, to be honest, and I couldn't see the point of it. And then I realised that there was a hobbyist aspect to it, and people were sharing their hobbies and talking about them, and communities developed, and that's where I joined in. And I loved that about it, and it wasn't about professionalism, and it wasn't about creating TV shows. It was just about getting a bunch of people together and talking. And I've stuck at that. So while the videos are about retro gaming, I say it's retro gaming in a retro YouTube style, because I've stuck with doing it how it used to be done. Which is probably why I'm not succeeding anymore. My channel is not growing. It's held station. I'm 200 subscribers further on from where I was this time last year, and I don't care. It's fine, because it's just about having a chat with friends. I don't care about slick productions and getting famous. And I see a lot of channels where you could be watching telly. It could be a professional, and probably is a professional production, and they're good to watch, but you can't have a conversation with the person. They encourage you to comment, but they're encouraging you to comment not because they want to have a conversation with you, but because it helps them in the algorithm. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to comment to someone who's not going to reply to me. I think that's just rude. So if people are going to comment, I'm going to try and reply. I've actually been remiss at replying to comments recently, but certainly in terms of a live stream, yeah, I totally want the interaction. Hello, Papa Chuck. Greetings, Happy New Year to you. What have you missed? I have no idea how long I've been on. You've missed a lot. we're probably drawing to the end of the stream because my voice, my throat is killing me and I'm losing my voice. Yeah, we have had a long chat about stuff. Tempest 2000 in the background, absolutely. (2008 to 2014) is the golden era for YouTube as a community overall. I think you're right, yeah. It started, as soon as they brought money into it, it changed. But it changed most over the last 5 years, I would say, to the point it's barely recognisable. Don't take the regular guy as an insult. No, I don't, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. I am literally just a normal guy sitting in front of a camera talking, and not being a TV presenter. I know exactly what you mean. And it's a choice. It is deliberate. While part of what I do is not knowing what I'm doing, the whole putting myself not knowing what I am doing on camera is deliberate, and in that sense I know exactly what I'm doing. But not everyone gets that. Casual viewers who aren't familiar with the channel think I don't know what I'm doing because I don't know what I'm doing. But I know exactly what I'm doing. Those were the days, and I'm so thankful that you haven't changed, to be honest. Thank you. Thank you for appreciating that I haven't changed. The community isn't what it used to be, but you give me hope. The thing is, I don't know if there is still a community outside of this channel. I don't venture onto YouTube. I don't venture onto many other retro gamers channels unless I see something in my feed. It's like I used to actively, I'd know who all the people were and I'd go and watch all of their videos and interact and talk, and I don't do that anymore, and that's a shame because there are so many. It got too big, and then it got commercial, and then I don't know if it died because I just withdrew into my own little sphere, and the people I know are the people who come to me because I don't put myself out there anymore, if that makes sense. There are people who I do still watch who were part of the community, but it's like everyone is separate in their own separate little bubble now, or that's how it seems from where I sit. I don't know if that's how it is. When Sky Sport muscles in on YouTube, you know it wants that mega bucks, yeah. That's the thing, I literally have you on Facebook and such, whereas the more professional ones do feel very much like you're kept at arm's length from that, which is fine, but it's a different thing. They're kind of, there are channels that I watch that I don't interact with. I just watch them because they do good content, like mega projects and side projects and stuff. Simon Whistler, really, really, really good, brilliant content. It is like watching TV. He does documentaries on stuff, and I love that channel, and he does it really well. But that's not a community thing. I've never commented on his stuff, and I won't because I don't expect to get a reply, and it doesn't seem like something that's designed to have a conversation, however much he might encourage people to comment. Great content, but it's a different thing. I do recommend his channel though. Channels, I think he's got half a dozen at least. I tried salt water. Hang on, where was the helium trophy? Hopefully you have a good New Year, Steve. Thank you. Happy New Year to you. I hope you have a good New Year. Saltwater gargle, 2 minutes, and a shot of 100 proof or fixed voice. I'm not starting drinking yet. I'm going to have my tea or dinner or whatever, and then I'll start drinking when I go into VR chat. I tried making vids for YouTube back in 2009, but I don't have a very good voice for it. I don't know. I haven't heard you, but I do think having a voice matters more than face on YouTube, because you don't have to show your face, but you do have to talk. So that is a thing. I don't know what to say about that, because I haven't heard you. Happy New Year's Eve. Hello Namcos, greeting and welcome. Happy New Year to you. Bear with me folks, I'm busting for a pee. So chat among yourselves for a minute. Oh, and I am back. Where were we? I'd rather have a friends community that knows what I'm doing than change everything and evolve into a monetized, sponsored, high production. Yeah, totally, absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean, YouTube algorithm doesn't help me at all, and I'm probably not producing what the mainstream YouTube viewer wants, but I don't care, because you lot, you've stuck around with and stuck with me, and it makes me really happy that you enjoy what I do, and I don't care about appealing to a wider audience, you know, because you lot are great. And who cares about a wider audience? They might be a bunch of assholes. I don't care. Don't need them. Don't want them. I've also given up finding new channels. I only come to YouTube to watch the same channels I did 5 years ago. Yeah. I agree. Actually, most of what I watch is channels that the few that are still making content that were making it when I was more active in the community. I still watch Clint, Lazy Game Reviews. I still watch Rich, Review Tech USA. He's a controversial character in the community now, and some people don't like what he does, but I still like what he does. God, I remember when my channel was bigger than his. I gave him a shout out when I hit 500 subscribers, and he was still at, I don't know, 100 and something. Yeah. I watch a few. What else do I watch? There's I can't even think what it's called. There's like a psychology channel that's largely like self-help and stuff, more for young people really, but I just find it really interesting. And I watch like mega projects and side projects and Simon Whistler. And I'm subscribed to a lot of other stuff, and I see, like, I know what quite a few people are doing just from the thumbnails and the titles without actually watching the videos, but it's nice to know what they're doing. And every once in a while I dip in and have a watch. My leg's going to sleep, so I'm fidgeting. It's hard to find good small channels anymore. That is true. I don't think I watch any small channels. I suppose it depends what's small. I watch Simone's channel, Hooked on Classics, while she's working on assorted cars and motorbikes. I do dip in and watch from time to time. Oh, and she's just going as I say that. Gotta run, Steve. Thanks for the stream. Going out this evening. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Simone. You're probably gone as I'm replying to this, but have a good one. Thank you for joining. I suppose at this point I ought to say meow to Cat Likes Beer. Thank you. Meow, 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 meow. Fucking meow. You don't need a voice, you just need an idea. This is true. I suppose it depends on delivery more than voice, to be honest. If you can speak, there will always be an audience. How big it is, who knows. Can't believe there's no empty bottles about the place. There are, you just can't see them, they're over there. Mainstream TV could never cover the specifics of the old school computing that you cover, and I find that really satisfying. Thank you. No, it's not a... Is mainstream... is retro gaming a mainstream interest these days? I think it is more than it used to be. It was very niche, where now it's sort of mainstream because it's sort of commercial. Remakes of classic systems have obviously become a thing, and when you can walk into an Argos or somewhere or game on the high street and buy a remake, like they've got pre-order boxes for the new Amiga 500 Mini in game at the moment, which says retro gaming has gone mainstream for that to be there. I haven't checked at all, but is BF 1943 still going? I would love to go back to that if it's available. It is still going. I don't know if you can still download it, but the servers are still up, or they were 6 months ago when I last tried it. Finding people to play, finding a full server, not so much. I did go on it. I got my ass handed to me, because while there aren't many people playing it, the ones who are playing it are very good at it. And I just got absolutely hammered at it, to the point that unless you've stayed, like, practiced, it's probably not worth playing. Steve, I remember this channel when it was this big. Yeah. It's been going a while. Have you seen the new Games Master TV show? I found it a bit cringy. I haven't. Honestly, I only liked Games Master when it was hosted by Dominic Diamond. I don't know who's hosting it now, but it's not going to be Dominic Diamond. As soon as he was gone, in fact, it was only the first season that I liked. It was like when I liked the studio setup as much as anything, and when they changed that setup to something different, I was like, no. And I stopped watching. So really, first season is the only one I liked. Freeze, sorry about me, as potatoes X, this man is all good. Love his... Okay, I've got absolutely no idea what that means. I don't understand. I remember the computer program about the BBC Micro. I was like 5, but there's been nothing quite like it since. I can't remember if I watched that or not. I've seen it since, like episodes on YouTube, I think. Can't do Games Master without Patrick Moore, that is true. Guess I'll announce it here. I have planned on doing a Windows 95 floppy disk install speedrun soon. I have a sealed copy and I figure it would be an absolute hoot as a spectacle. That's a cool idea. Yeah, I like the sound of that. Speedrun loading a floppy operating system. that's I can't imagine anyone else has done that, not as a speedrun. Dominic Diamond and Matthew Smith and live with me on my... Okay. Yeah. I think there's an element of gibberish here, but are you saying that... Who the hell? Matthew Smith? That's Doctor Who as far as I'm concerned. There was that other guy who they had presenting who was really, really bloody annoying. He was in a war film. He was in Fury. I can't remember his name, but I really don't like him. Personally thought the new Games Master was great, and Trevor McDonald as the Games Master was an ingenious choice. I do think he is a good choice because he's of the right kind of age range and stature in terms of like media and what he represents. He's not what you would consider a gaming personality at all. So yeah, he does fit in that sense. Matthew Smith, right, could be that Matthew Smith. Just got to set up the cameras and Dexter Fletcher, that's who, yes, God. As soon as I saw him on it, I was like, no, never ever watched it. I just don't. He might be a perfectly nice person, maybe. Don't know, never met him, never had a conversation, but the character that he portrayed on that show, I hated. I just wanted to scream at him, get off. You know, give us Dominic Diamond back because you're a dick. That's what I wanted to say. I don't know what he's like as a person, but in the context of that show, I hated him. Okay, at this point I am going to have to stop because my voice is killing me and I need a little bit of voice for meowing later. How long does OBS tell me how long I've been going? Let's have a look. How long? If it tells us, I don't know where it tells us. No, I have no... Oh, hang on. Live for 2 hours and 43 minutes. That's not bad going. Yeah. So, I just have to say thank you all very much for joining. It has been a blast. It's always a blast. I do just love... It's like I can come on here with no idea what I'm going to talk about and know that there's going to be people to talk to who will give me things to talk about, and I really enjoy that. So thank you all, and I just want to wish you all a very happy new year. I don't know how your 2021 has been, but I hope 2022 is as good as, if not better than, you know. Best wishes to everyone, and have a good night. If you're going to get drunk, and I am, Hope you don't have too bad a hangover. If you are a VR chat user, I will be on there. I will be in the Black Cat. I go under username Cat Likes Beer. If you want to join me, you can find me. Come join me. It's always fun on there. Now I've got to work out how to turn this thing off. Do you remember what I was saying about not knowing what I'm doing? This is one of those points. I know how to start the stream badly. I don't know how to stop. There's how you stop, by pressing the button that says stop streaming. Thank you all. See you again.